Does anyone know what happened to Madeleine McCann? Are Kate and Jerry to blame? Is this series worth watching? Well, today we're gonna find out. On the 15th of March, Netflix released an 8-part series, The Disappearance of Madeleine McCann.
The entire McCann case has become a phenomenon.
I couldn't wait to watch this, as it was a really high profile missing persons case and was covered massively in the media. It's also a very controversial case. So in this video, I'll be reviewing the documentary and finding out if it offers any new information, if it answers any questions, and if it's any good. I'm not going to go too deep into conspiracy theories and all that madness, but if you want to hear my opinion on what I think happened to Madeleine, stick around till the end of the video. The documentary features loads of different interviews from people that were involved in the case. Goncalo Amaral, the chief Portuguese investigator of the case. Sandra Felgares, I think that's how you say it, who was a Portuguese journalist who heavily covered this.
Those cops lied to me.
Robert Marat, a former suspect in this case.
They wanted me to confess.
Anthony Summers and Robin Swan, who wrote the book Looking for Madeleine.
The police leaked information to the press.
As well as friends of the McCanns, British police, Portuguese police, and the 3 different private detective agencies that the McCanns hired to work on this case. The amount of people involved in this documentary really helps to tell the story from so many different perspectives. As well as these interviews, each episode includes amazing reconstructions of the events that took place. Old news footage and sound bites, newspaper cutouts, and some quite hilarious artist impressions of suspects. When I saw this one, I solved the case instantly. And this one, it defo wasn't me, I promise. I've never been to Portugal. The documentary starts off by setting the scene in Praia da Luz and introducing main characters, with the first episode mainly covering the night Madeleine disappeared.
It is feared that a 3-year-old British girl has been abducted in Portugal.
The series moves forward on a chronological timeline, with each episode discussing different parts of the case, including suspects, police investigations, and the McCann's potential involvement in this.
There is no way Kate and I are involved in this abduction.
There's a big focus on the possibility of some sort of underground paedophile network being involved. I found it strange that there was such an emphasis on this. Pedos are everywhere. There was like 3 in my school. Wait, I went to a Catholic school. That kind of makes sense. If you'd like to hear about that story, make sure to subscribe because I will be covering it in a future episode. Another big theme in the documentary is the media involvement in the case.
Most high-profile missing child in the world.
And how the Portuguese and British media portrayed it very, very differently. So what did I think of the documentary? Well, I'll start with the positives. One thing that works really well is the suspensive music used throughout. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. As well as this, the reconstructions are really well made and keep it visually interesting. And I have to say, it does cover quite a lot of the Madeleine case. Right, now the negatives, and there are quite a lot of them. The documentary is extremely long. Why? Yes, there is a lot happening in this case, but I feel like it could have been condensed down into something a lot shorter. And even with 8 episodes at an hour each, it fails to bring any new information to the case.
This could be the breakthrough. Here it is, it all fits.
Or answer any questions that haven't already been answered. There's only really one episode that focuses on Kate and Jerry as suspects.
Statistically, it's likely to be someone who is in close proximity with the child.
And this episode doesn't cover why Kate didn't answer the police questions, or what the questions were that she didn't answer. It also quickly dispels any forensic evidence that would suggest that they are guilty. And there's not much explanation of why the children were left alone when there was a perfectly safe and good night creche for them to stay at. Still don't know why. Also, 2 of the main narrators of this series, Anthony Summers and Robin Swan, have wrote a book that supports the McCanns. Because of this and many other things, the documentary feels a little bit biased. Rather than a factual and informing piece, it comes across as a sensationalized dramatisation.
If you made a dozen movies out of this, nobody would believe them.
So in my opinion, unless you've got extreme interest in this case, it's really not worth watching. It seemed to me like a waste of 8 hours, which I wish I could have back. If you've watched this series, I would love to know what your thoughts on it were, and if they were any different to mine. So go drop a comment below. And finally, probably what you've all been waiting for, my thoughts on what happened to Madeleine. It's really hard to know what to think with there being so much information out there, some of which you don't know whether you can believe it or not. With this Netflix documentary, I don't know if I could believe that either. The fact that sniffer dogs picked up the scent of blood and the dead body in the bedroom, behind the sofa, and in the boot of the car really does suggest that Madeleine died in that apartment. She was not taken. There seems to be zero hard evidence that anyone other than Kate and Jerry had any involvement in this. It's also very strange that the two twins slept the whole night through as police, investigators, and the whole of the hotel seemed to walk in and out the room. Another thing that doesn't add up is, why did Kate and Jerry go to sleep on the night Madeleine went missing? Yeah, it was 5 o'clock in the morning, but you would just continue searching if that was your child. You wouldn't want to stop. Personally, I do think they played some sort of role in her disappearance, but the sad thing about this case is that we may never find out what actually happened on that night.
Somebody knows what's happened to Madeleine McCann.
Thank you for watching, guys. Those were my thoughts, but if you've got any theories on what happened to Madeleine, drop a comment below. I really hope you enjoyed this video and found it interesting to watch. I'll be back next Monday as usual, but until then, I hope you all have a great week.
Hey baby, why you panicking? Trap lines embarrassing. I got white like Marilyn.